Hey guys, it's Ross going on the Space Coach. I've got another classic of science fiction for you, and it's Peter F. Hamilton's Night's Dawn Trilogy. The first book of which is The Reality Dysfunction. What a doorstopper. And they all are, all three books in this series. Fantastic series. There you just see the rest of the cover. Space is not the only void. So let's see what it says. AD 2600. And the human race is finally beginning to achieve its full potential. Hundreds of colonised planets scattered across the galaxy host a multitude of prosperous and wildly diverse cultures. From pastoral idylls to super technology kingdoms, religious havens to consensual democracies. Genetic engineering has pushed evolution far beyond nature's boundaries, defeating disease and producing extraordinary spaceborne creatures. Huge fleets of sentient trader starships thrive on the wealth created by the industrialization of entire star systems. And throughout inhabited space, the Confederation Navy keeps the peace. A true golden age is within our grasp. But now something has gone catastrophically wrong. On a primitive colony planet, a renegade criminal's chance encounter with an utterly alien entity unleashes the most primal of all our fears. The extinct race which inhabited the galaxy aeons ago called it the Reality Dysfunction. It is the nightmare which has prowled beside us since the beginning of history. A nightmare that renders humanity's fabulous science and technology impotent. A nightmare with no end. As more and more face the agony, mankind gathers its strength in a desperate bid to fight a menace that hungers to be birthed in the dawn of an eternal night. Have we woken to the end of our dream? And that nightmare is the spirits of the dead coming back from the void and possessing people. And not just that, but they can actually shift entire planets out of our reality into a void. So this criminal, he's like some like teen lawbreaker type thing, sent off to this colony world, Lalonde, and it's just as part of a work crew, and he's out and he stumbles across this alien kind of creature. It's like a glowing light, but they kind of like merge somehow, and it basically cracks open a rift, essentially, allowing the souls of the dead to come through and start possessing people. So it's kind of like Ghosts and Zombie and all that sort of stuff, all at the same time. Fascinating. And the different nations I mentioned, amazing. There's one that's basically, it's an entire city in space. Another, like Luna, the moon, is basically a communist state. And they have been terraforming Mars for centuries, pouring in all their effort for generations. And they're now at the stage where Mars has been terraformed. Others, there's a world, I think it's called Norfolk. It's like pastoral English idyll. It's like low technology. They produce this drink called Norfolk Tears, which is like the most expensive brandy type thing in the entire galaxy. So many different types of nations. The starships that are sentient. Amazing. And anyway, so that is where the first book ends, basically, that this phenomenon is starting to happen. The second book is The Neutronium Alchemist. Basically, it's a giant sun-killing, planet-killing bomb. So let's see more of the ships. I'll just open this out so you can get a better sense of it. So this is like one of the structures in space. So let's see what this one says. The second volume of the Night's Dawn Trilogy. Not every fallen angel comes from heaven. The ancient menace has finally escaped from Lalonde, shattering the Confederation's peaceful existence. Those who succumbed to it have acquired godlike powers, but now follow a far from divine gospel as they advance inexorably from world to world. On planets and asteroids, individuals battle for survival against the strange and brutal forces unleashed upon the universe. Governments teeter on the brink of anarchy, the Confederation Navy is dangerously overstretched, and a dark messiah prepares to invoke his own version of the final night. In such desperate times, the last thing the galaxy needs is a new and terrifyingly powerful weapon. Yet Dr. Alcad Mizzou is determined to retrieve the alchemist so she can complete her 30-year-old vendetta to slay a star, which means Joshua Calvert has to find Dr. Mizzou and bring her back before the alchemist can be reactivated. But he's not alone in the chase, and there are people on both sides who have their own ideas about how to use the ultimate doomsday device. Dr. Mizzou and Joshua Calvert, characters from the first book, he's like a starship trader from what I recall, having an affair with the woman who's the princess of one of those space cities related to one of the royal families that runs loads of different planets. Dr. Mizzou, the planet she's from, was at war with another planet. She was one of their top scientists. But that other planet used banned technology and attacked their world and rendered it completely uninhabitable, wiping out almost everyone who was on there. There's a great scene in there because there was one of the bombs went off only 500 kilometers away and everything was on fire and in ruins. So she wants revenge on that planet, but that's already happened because at the time, that planet's government, the attacker planet, the president, the cabinet, they were all executed and they were put into, quarantine. The world was quarantined for 30 years, I guess. And she's doing this now because that quarantine period is over. That world's being welcomed back into the family of planets and she feels her world is forgotten. So that's just a bit of backstory on that. So that is the second book, The Neutronium Alchemist. In the third book, of course, everything is completely falling apart. And there is the cover. This is the city, I believe, that Joshua Calvert's girlfriend owns, rather. Just opening up. And you see another one of the sentient starships there with a planet in the background. So let's see this one. Third volume in the Dawn Trilogy. Hell just went quantum. The Confederation is starting to collapse politically and economically, allowing the possessed to infiltrate more worlds. Quinn Dexter, he's a criminal from the first book who had the original encounter with the creatures, is loose on Earth, destroying the giant arcologies one at a time. As Louise Cavanagh tries to track him down, I try to think of that as the princess, I'm not sure. She manages to acquire some strange and powerful allies whose goal does not quite match her own. The campaign to liberate Morton Ridge from the possessed degenerates into a horrendous land battle of the kind which hasn't been seen by humankind for 600 years. Then some of the protagonists escape in a very unexpected direction. Joshua Calvert and Syrinx now fly their starships on a mission to find the sleeping god, and which an alien race believes holds the key to finally overthrowing the possessed. Syrinx. I think Syrinx might have been one of the lunar communists. Genetically engineered, so the really long, thin body and all that sort of stuff. But Morton Ridge, that I believe was an area on one of the planets that's not fully infected, but that area is, so they've got to try and clear them out. But yes, several worlds have, of course, been yanked out of the universe. So part of the storyline is set on there and all the stuff happening. And the direction that those people escape into is basically they go into the other void. Fascinating stuff, absolutely brilliant. Some of the stuff in here, they're moving entire solar systems. The Confederate, they talk about the Confederation, how it's collapsing, and how they need to set up basically a core Confederation, systems that can be defended, cutting everyone else loose. But Joshua Calvert, he managed to find the naked god to help them. They move the star systems. So interstellar travel is not really necessary anymore. All these star systems are basically all next to each other now. It's fantastic. But it's a great series. It's very in-depth. It's brilliant space opera. It really is. If you like The Expanse and all that stuff, this is awesome. And it's galaxy spanning rather than just one solar system. Oh, look, The Expanse is galaxy spanning, of course. But a lot of it was initially set in our solar system. Brilliant stuff. Fantastic. I've read so many more of his books since then. The whole Commonwealth series and stuff with is it Paula Mayo? I forget her full name. And all of that about the Star Traveller and all that sort of thing. That's great too. But yes, the Dawn Trilogy, Reality Dysfunction, Neutronium Alchemist, and The Naked God. Got this in 1996 because I was working for City of London Unit Trust Managers at the time, and I finished working there in August of that year. So yes, Great, the three of them. Real door-stoppers, but highly worth checking out. Thoroughly recommended if you like to get your teeth into a really deep sort of story that has lots and lots of characters, locations, motivations, and it delves into lots of questions about the afterlife and philosophy and all that sort of stuff. Thoroughly recommended, as I say. Why don't you guys let me know if you've checked it out? And if you haven't checked it out, like I said, thoroughly recommended, and you should definitely do so. Please subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this content. Leave me a comment suggestion for a upcoming topic you'd like to see discussed, or like the video.